This is every single book on my physical TBR. This really puts into perspective how many books I still have to read. Don't worry though, we will be unhauling some of these. As we go through this, I'm probably going to pick out a few that I just don't have any interest in anymore and I want to get rid of. So hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. As you can see, we are going to be going through every single book that is on my physical TBR, which is a lot. We're going to rapid fire through the majority of these because honestly, there really is no excuse as to why I haven't picked them up. Without further ado, let's get into it. The Lord of the Rings, the individual books, and then we have a big book with every single one of them in it, and this is the illustrated version. I've had these for a few years and it's just a little bit too high fantasy for me to want to pick up at just random moments, so haven't gotten around to it, but I really want to. Gray. At one point in time, I really thought that I wanted to know Christian's perspective. Now, I don't really know if I want the Crescent City series. I have read the entire ACOTAR series and Throne of Glass series already. These are the last 3 books that I have to read to be completely caught up, and honestly, I'm just super intimidated by how big these books are and how long it's probably going to take me to read them. So, caught up. I will be getting to this soon. I read Lights Out recently, and I loved that book, so I will be reading this sometime in the near future. The Kingdom of Copper and the Empire of Gold. This is part of the David Bad trilogy, which if you have not heard of the David Bad trilogy, you definitely should. The first book in this series is called The City of Brass, and it is so good. And I definitely plan on continuing this series. To All the Boys I've Loved Before, It's Not Summer Without You, Love and Gelato, All the Right Places, Holding Up the Universe, and Christmas Everlasting. These are all just really pretty books that I haven't gotten rid of because I really like the covers of them, but I have had no interest in reading them, honestly. Then we have the Bridgerton series. This is not all the books from the series. I really hate that this is a mass market paperback and all the rest are the cuter versions of them, but that is all that I could find at that time, so this is the Bridgerton series, and I would really like to read these at one point, but I started The Duke and I and got like 80% into it and then put it down and had zero interest in actually picking it back up. I feel like the Bridgerton series, the show, is just so good already that I don't really have any interest in picking up the books because what if the books are worse? Or I guess I'm a little bit scared to read them because what if they make the show look bad? And we have the last 3 books in the Percy Jackson series. We have The Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian. I do want to finish reading the Percy Jackson series. One book takes me a few hours to read, so I could finish that pretty fast, but I've just haven't really thought about it, honestly. Then we have 4 books from the House of Night series. These I found at the thrift store and thought they were interesting at the time, and honestly, I don't know if I do anymore. I just honestly haven't been really interested in picking these up at all, so I don't know. The Secret History, this I am actually currently reading right now, and I'm loving it. The Little Mermaid and Other Fairy Tales, I just thought that was a really cute book. Starry Messenger by Neil deGrasse Tyson. He is like my favorite person on planet Earth, honestly, and I just really want to read some of his books because I've seen him in person and I just love hearing him talk physics and the universe and all of that good stuff. Then we have Rule of Wolves by Leah Bardugo. She did not do me wrong with the Six of Crows duology, so I'm very interested in picking up some of her other books. We Free the Stars by Hafsa Faizal. The Last Thing He Told Me, which is a thriller, I believe, and I'm not a big thrillers person. I already have enough anxiety as it is, and I don't want any more, so if I can steer clear of that, then I probably will. Spare by Prince Harry. I'm making it a mission to read more memoirs, autobiographies, and generally nonfiction books because I read so much fantasy and literary fiction already, so I really want to try and branch out into a different genre, and so that's why I picked this book up. I just thought it'd be really interesting to see what the life of a prince is like. Moby Dick. This is an incredibly difficult book to read, and I started this when I was in 9th grade. I only got like 2 pages in because it took so much work to try and understand some of the words in here, so I don't know when I'll ever get around to reading that book. We're gonna go through probably every single one of my book box special edition books pretty fast because there's literally zero excuse as to why I haven't read them yet, and I have a lot. So we have Godly Heathens and Merciless Saviors, Where Shadows Meet, To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods, Immortal Consequences, The Floating World, Sleep Like Death, and Sleep Like Death, both the exact same book, just different versions. Kiki's Delivery Service, I will be reading this fall because this is adorable. Howl's Moving Castle, I already started this book, so cute and I love it so much. Fathom Folk, For She Is Wrath, The Glittering Edge, The Girl with No Reflection, Of Jade and Dragons, A Language of Dragons, The Phoenix Keeper, The Night Blood Prince, The Dagger and the Flame, Cruel is the Light, Air of Storms, Darker by Four, Takeja God, Goddess of the River. We also have The Darkness Within Us. This is a book that I chose from one of my TBR prompts for the month of September, so I will be getting to this book pretty soon. Song of the Six Realms. I think that's all of the special edition ones. Then we have the Shadow and Bone trilogy. So we have Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising. I already read the Six of Crows duology, and I thought at the time that the Six of Crows duology came before Shadow and Bone, but I might be wrong. But I do want to get to these books because I loved Six of Crows. Wuthering Heights, which is a classic that I was influenced to pick up by the After series, actually. I just haven't found the time to get into this book. I've started it like a dozen times and I've never made it past 50 pages, so maybe one day I actually will. Forging Silver into Stars by Bridget Kemmerer. This is on one of those shelves that I don't really look at very much. A Magic Steeped in Poison and A Venom Dark and Sweet. This doesn't have the cover on it because I was reading this last month and I ended up DNFing it because I just couldn't get into the story. It wasn't intriguing me at all and I had almost no interest in continuing it, so I think I might just get rid of these books. Gods and Monsters by Shelby Mahurin. This is another book that I just haven't really thought of very much at all. It looked really interesting at the time and now I just don't find it interesting. The Wicked King and The Queen of Nothing. I did read The Cruel Prince like 4 years ago, I think. Maybe even more, honestly. But I loved that book so much at that time. And I guess since it's been so long now, I just feel like I either have to reread The Cruel Prince or just continue on and be a little bit confused. I guess I'm a little bit nervous that my thoughts and feelings on this series have changed because I may have grown out of it. So I guess I'm just a little bit nervous to continue on, if that makes sense. Aragon, this is a book about dragons and I so badly want to read it because I love dragons in books and I just think this would be really fun and interesting. So I do really want to read this sometime soon and there's zero excuse as to why I haven't read it yet because I've had this book for years, literally since like 9th grade of high school. The Falconer, this I got just recently, so of course I haven't had a chance to actually read it yet, but this just sounded really interesting. This is like, what is it called? But this just really interested me and I thought that it was giving Throne of Glass vibes, kind of. So Tress of the Emerald Sea, I feel like reading this book is going to be a nice little gateway into the Brandon Sanderson universe, even though it has nothing to do with any of his other books, but I'm terrified to start some of his longer series, so I feel like reading this will be a nice little entrance into the Brandon Sanderson world. Your Blood, My Bones. This one is actually already on my September TBR, so I will be reading this sometime soon. Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. I read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies last year, and I thought it was the coziest little book ever, but I haven't really had any inclination to pick up the other book yet, so maybe I'll do that this fall because it's definitely giving autumnal vibes. The Bone Season, this is a book that was on sale and I just found it interesting at that time, and now I don't know. I might have to revisit that thought process because it hasn't really interested me at all and I've had no interest in actually picking this book up. A Vow So Bold and Deadly, another book that I've really had like no interest in actually picking up, so I might just get rid of this one. Tokyo Ever After and Tokyo Dreaming. At the time, these seemed like really good books, and now I just don't know. Then we have A Fate Inked in Blood and A Curse Carved in Bone. These are definitely a little bit higher on my TBR, so I will be getting to these hopefully sometime soon, but I just don't know when. Ruthless Fae from the Zodiac Academy series. I did not like the bullying in the first book, but nonetheless I will be continuing this series because I think the payoff at the end of this series is going to be so good. So I definitely want to continue this series. When the Tides Held the Moon, which just has the cutest little cover, and it's about a little romance with a merman, and I just thought it was the cutest thing, so I would love to read this book. Metal Slinger, you've probably heard enough about this book already, so I won't waste your time. Definitely seems interesting and I would love to read this sometime soon. Radiant Sin by Katie Robert. This is the next book in the Neon Gods series that I have to read. I don't know if that's what it's called. It's called the Dark Olympus series, duh. But this is the next book in the Dark Olympus series that I actually have to read. And then Twisted Secrets by Katie Robert. Since I'm not caught up with the Dark Olympus series yet, I don't want to start a new series. We'll just have to see when I actually get around to this. Saint by Sierra Simone. This is part of the Priest trilogy, which is an extremely taboo series, but nonetheless, I love them and I think they're just super fun and taboo. So can't wait to read this one. Takeover by Evelyn Sola. This is a book that I got from the Columbus Book Festival in Columbus, Ohio. It basically has a bunch of indie authors that come there and bring their books for people to see and buy, and I thought that this looked really interesting. It looks like almost all of my other like darker romance books, so I just thought this would be really interesting. Isabella from the DiMaggio crime family. Matteo is the first book in the series. I read Matteo as an e-arc and I loved that book so much, so of course I bought that book and then I had to get the second book in the series as well. Where's Molly by H.D. Carlton. Honestly, I'm terrified to pick up this book. I loved Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline, but Hunting Adeline really destroyed my heart and was extremely difficult to recover from. I feel like since Molly probably had it a little bit worse off than Adeline, I'm probably gonna need therapy after reading this book. So I'm a little bit nervous about this. I do hope to get to it sometime soon. That time will be when I'm a stronger human, and I don't know if that time is right now, so hopefully sometime soon. Keeping 13. I already started this book, but I couldn't get too far into it because I really needed like a mental health break from this series because Binding 13 was very heavy. The ending was devastating to say the least. So of course I had to continue on to Keeping 13 to figure out what actually happened. But as soon as I figured that out and I had comfort and relief, then I could put this book down because I could not be left on that cliffhanger. That was brutal, honestly. How to Make Friends with the Dark. Meet Me in the Middle. Okay. We're actually not too far from the end. Then we have The Tower of Fools and Warriors of God. This is from the same author who wrote The Witcher series, and I loved The Witcher Netflix series. I don't know if I'm actually gonna pick this up because this isn't The Witcher series. I don't know if I didn't realize that when I bought these books or not, but I was really interested in The Witcher, and these are not that. Then we have the last 3 books in the Twisted series, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna DNF Twisted Games because I can't get through it, and either I'm gonna force myself through it, rate it super, super low, or I'm just gonna DNF it so I can continue on with the series because I've been in the middle of this book for over a year now, and I really want to continue the series, but I can't because I'm stuck in this book. So I think I might just DNF that or push through, one of the two, but I do want to finish the series. Then we have The Striker by Anna Huang, which I'm really excited for because I really want to read a sports romance by Anna Huang. Pucking Sweet by Emily Rath. I loved Pucking Around and I hated Pucking Wild. So I'm really hoping that this gives the same vibes as Pucking Around because otherwise I'd be a little bit disappointed. A Bigger Bang Theory and Into a Wicked World by Jordan Riley Swan. These are 2 more books that I got from the Columbus Book Festival. This is a retelling of The Wizard of Oz. I believe it's where the Tin Man starts falling in love with Dorothy, but the more feelings he gets, the more rigid he becomes, like the more solid he becomes. So he's not allowed to feel, but he starts developing these feelings for Dorothy. So I thought that was really interesting. Then we have a STEM romance, which I love STEM romances because I love when we have representation for women in STEM. Tales of the Foolish Heart by Aidan Lovely. I received this book in a PR package and I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet, but it seems so cute and I really want to read this one. I also got Truly You by Claudia Bergoa sent to me for a birthday present actually, which was super sweet and totally unexpected, but nonetheless, I'm very grateful. But I just haven't really gotten around to reading this one either. Real Americans I picked up because I wanted to include more literary fiction books on my bookshelf. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. This is like the only book from the Harry Potter series that I haven't read yet. Beauty and the Beast, Lost in a Book. I think this is just talking about her time in captivity and she uses the library as like an escape during her time there, which I thought was really interesting, but I think this is going to feel like a very cozy fantasy. So really interested in this one. To Kill a Kingdom. This book is a standalone fantasy, I believe. It feels like almost every fantasy is part of a series now. So I've been keeping it for one of those rainy days where I just feel like reading a standalone fantasy book. Then we have the entire selection series. I actually found this entire series in a little free library and I was so happy when I found them because I used to have like the first 2 books in the selection series back when I was in high school, and then I got rid of them because I thought that I wasn't going to be interested in them. And then I started hearing so much about how good this series was, and I felt such FOMO over that. So when I found this in a little free library, I just snagged them all because I need to know what the hype is about. Then we have a ton of classic books that I honestly just don't really have any excuse as to why I haven't read them. So we're just gonna rapid fire through these ones. The Mermaid Chair by Sue Monk Kidd, Even Though I Knew the End, Sun by Lois Lowry, Messenger by Lois Lowry, and Gathering Blue by Lois Lowry. I have read The Giver by Lois Lowry and I loved it so much, so I would love to read more of her books. Just Mercy, which is a book that I was supposed to read for a college history class when I was in high school, and I just never finished it, although I really wanted to. On the Origin of Species by Charles Darwin, The Iliad and the Odyssey, The Phantom of the Opera, The Communist Manifesto, don't ask me why I have that book, Gulliver's Travels, The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, The Magicians, The Art of Intelligence, Lessons from a Life in the CIA's Clandestine Service. I got this book as a gift when I was in high school because I really wanted to be in the FBI during that time, and I no longer wish for that. The Scarlet Letter, Beyond Silicon Valley. I ended up getting the Princeton Book Award when I was in high school, and this is the book that they gave to us as a little gift. Night by Ellie Weasel and The Glass Castle, The Remains of the Day, Educated, Classical Mythology, Welcome to the Universe by Neil deGrasse Tyson, and Welcome to the Universe in 3D by Neil deGrasse Tyson. I love this man, so of course I had to get his books. Then of course we have the cutest classics I've ever seen in my entire life, Little Women, Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, and Emma by Jane Austen. I also have the illustrated edition for The Iliad, The Odyssey, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Then we have Ninth House by Leah Bardugo, She Didn't Steer Me Wrong, and Six of Crows, Circe by Madeline Miller, Stalking Jack the Ripper, The Midnight Library. This is a book that I feel like I would absolutely love because I'm one of those people that doubts like every decision I've ever made. So I feel like I would really like this book. I just haven't ever gotten around to reading it. So that's my own fault. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children and Hollow City. The Last Time I Lied. This is a book that my grandma initially read, and then she loved it so much that she ended up sending it to her sister. And then her sister loved it so much that when they were talking, they decided that they wanted me to read it because they know I love reading. So they just sent it to me. And now it just feels like the sisterhood of the traveling pants. That's kind of how this book feels. So I'm sorry, Grandma, I haven't read this yet, but I will hopefully sometime soon. I'm just not a big thriller person. I get scared too easily. Liar's Beach. We also have some middle grade books, Wildwood, Wildwood Imperium, and Under Wildwood. Then we have Overlord, which is an anime that my brother absolutely loved. So he got me the book because he wanted me to read the book since he loved the anime so much. And we have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is one of the last books that I actually have to read from Ali Hazelwood's backlog, so definitely want to get to this sometime soon. This is also on my September TBR, so if you haven't seen my September TBR video, definitely go watch it. But The Beautiful, this is on my September TBR. Then we have the only two Stephen King books that I actually own. We have The Outsider and Mr. Mercedes. My aunt loved this book so much. And then The Outsider, my brother wanted me to read, but I'm a chicken and I don't like horror books, so I'm a little bit nervous for that. Then we have Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I've never read anything by V.E. Schwab, but I definitely want to because I've heard so many great things. And then finally we have Rose in Chains and The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, which are highly anticipated reads because they are Hermione fan fictions that were traditionally published. So very excited to be getting to those books, but I'm waiting for Alchemized to come out so that I could read them all together so I could just have like one big Hermione readathon. You know what's crazy is I actually forgot a book. We also have The Akatanomy, and this is a book that my dad got for me because it was like all the rave at one point. It came with like a whole letter type thing. But yeah, this book is beautiful, but it literally comes with its own definitions and pronunciations cards. It's a hard read. I've started it a couple times and I just didn't have the time to take on that task because it is definitely a high fantasy. I don't know when I'll actually get around to reading that, but okay, so that is every single book that is on my physical TBR. Now I am going to count them all, tally it up. I'm also going to go ahead and separate the books that I want to get rid of, and then we'll have an accurate reflection of how many books I actually have left on my physical TBR after unhauling those books. I will get back to you in a little bit. Okay, so I am completely done counting all of the books It looks like a lot. It is a lot. I did get rid of a decent amount of books. I wasn't honestly expecting to get rid of a lot. So before the unhaul, there were 167 books on my physical TBR. I unhauled 20 books from my physical TBR, and then I ended up getting rid of 5 books from my actual bookshelves that I have read. So really quickly, we're gonna go through all the books that I did decide to unhaul. The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. I just think this is a really long book, and it's like a 10-book series or something, and I don't think I'm ever going to be interested enough to actually get into that. Lightlark, this is actually a book that I've already read, and I have a special edition of it on my bookshelf, so I figured I'd get rid of the paperback version of it and I'd keep the special edition because I didn't absolutely love this book, and I don't even know if I'm going to continue the series, so I figured if I'm going to keep at least one version of Lightlark, it's probably going to be the special edition one, so I'm going to get rid of this one. The Longest Autumn, I did read this last year and I didn't love it. I did not like the ending and it felt very unfinished and rushed, so I didn't like this. Someone else might love this a lot more. I bought these books when I was like 18, 19 years old because I wanted to, and I just don't want them anymore. In Education and Malice, I do not want to talk about how much I hated this book, but just know that I hated this book. All the Bright Places, I honestly don't think I'll ever be in the right mental headspace to want to pick up this book. I already know how it ends and I already know it's devastating, so don't think I'm going to be interested in picking that one up anytime soon. Holding Up the Universe, I do love Jennifer Niven's writing. She's such a great YA author. At this point in my life, I'm not that interested in reading young adult books anymore. My taste has changed a lot since I got this book, so I just don't think that I'm going to want to pick this up anytime soon, and somebody else can enjoy it much more than I can. Tokyo Ever After and Tokyo Dreaming, the same thing with these books. I'm just not interested enough in reading these to actually pick them up, so someone else can love them. The Bone Season, the House of Night series, Grey, Warriors of God, and The Tower of Fools. I was kind of on the edge of whether I should get rid of these or not, but ultimately I decided that I can probably borrow the Witcher series from the library, and if I really, really love them, I'll probably borrow these books if I ever feel like getting around to them. Meet Me in the Middle, again, sounds super cute, and I love the idea of it, but I just don't think I'm ever going to want to read it. How to Make Friends with the Dark, same thing. A Vow So Bold and Deadly, Gods and Monsters, A Magic Steeped in Poison, and A Venom Dark and Sweet, and then Forging Silver into Stars. So these are all 25 of the books that I do plan on getting rid of, and then behind me we have all the books on my physical TBR. It's 147, and if I work really hard on lowering that number, then I may be able to finish it within the next few years. We'll see how long that's going to take me, but nonetheless, this has been a really eye-opening experience. I guess if you've made it this far, comment down below how many books you think you have on your physical TBR. I think that should be fun. Just make me feel better about myself because I have a lot. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful, amazing, very great day. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!